Does grip matter? Does it? Should there just be one grip? Or can we change our grip to give us a better chance of hitting some short shots around the green? Yes. Let's talk through 3 grips that are really, honestly, going to give you more control, better strikes, and get up and down more often. We all think of the guys on tour of having a great short game. Now's the time to access these secrets. So let's start off by selecting a club. Now I actually carry 4 wedges, 58, 54, 50, and my pitching wedge. But what wedges do you carry? I think it's important to have consistent gapping between each wedge. Gives us a really good chance of not having a situation where we feel like we can't get one there because it's not enough club and it feels too much of a chip with another. Okay, so let's do this right now. Let's talk about kind of sort of like a standard chip. If you come round here, you'll be able to see what shot we've got here. It's actually, I say standard, it's a pretty hard shot I've got right here. So normal grip into the fingers, and I want you to feel you've got 2.5 knuckles showing on your left hand. That is our first grip. This for me allows us to be able to release the club with a bit of speed and be able to get that strike. If it's too strong here, potentially too much this way, too weak, could start to pop up. So the first grip, which we probably use majority of the time, 2.5 knuckles on our left hand. So let's hit this one away and get a good stance, good setup, wait a little bit on the left side, pitch this one in there. I'll tell you what, you'd be absolutely over the moon with that one. Okay, let's hit 2 of these away and then we'll move on to the next one. I don't want to spend too much time on this standard one because I think a lot of us already know this. We're going to talk about when we get it really strong and show more knuckles, and when we go a little bit weaker and show less knuckles, and when we get it in the palm. Yes, you heard me right, in the palm. This is something you'd never think you'd hear me say. So first grip, 2.5 knuckles, and for a lot of people this could either look quite strong or even a little bit weaker than what you're used to. I like it as a neutral sort of chipping position because I think I can put a lot of speed into the hit without worrying it's going to go too far. Okay, so second one away. We'll pull that a little bit. The first one was much better. Okay, let's move on now to the second scenario where we're going to talk about showing more knuckles and really allowing this release to work a little bit differently. So remember the first one, 2.5 knuckles. Look how this club head stays relatively neutral relative to my spine throughout this whole motion. Now remember this sort of release pattern. As we go through this whole motion, our grip is going to change slightly to change the spin that we put on the ball. When you find yourself in a scenario like this is why it's really important now to get a different grip and a different position of this club in your hands. Or another way I think about this one is you position your club differently and you take a very similar grip, but it will look a little bit different down at address. We're going to talk about flop shot because this is certainly a high tariff shot here, and a bunker shot. Okay. So I mentioned the release we had before. 2 knuckles or 2.5 knuckles would create this sort of release. Now, in a bunker and in a shot like this, well here, the ball's gonna go out too flat. With a bunker, we potentially could get this leading edge to dig. Now, that's gonna get us in a little bit of trouble. We're probably gonna either thin it over the back or we're gonna leave it in the bunker. Both are not good for scoring. So, what I like to feel with my grip here is first I lay the club open and I take my grip on the left hand side of this golf club. So if I've shown you here, this is the middle, this would be the right hand side, this would be the left hand side. I take my grip on the left hand side of the golf club. Now look what this does differently to my release now. This releases the club underneath and my wrist can work this way. When my wrist is in this position relative to the club, it's very, very hard to create a roll release, something that you'd probably see with a 7-iron, and it's hard to create that neutral one. What would make more sense in creating a natural move and allow that club to glide through the ground or glide through the sand is holding it as I've got right here, because this changes the way we can deliver the club. More loft, more speed in this direction rather than this direction. So placing that club a little bit open, gripping on the left hand side, I've still got it in the fingers. We can walk into shots like this, add some speed, but because our release works this way now, because of how we're holding it, it makes it a lot easier to add speed and lift rather than speed and forwards. Look at the wind on that. From here, I'd be insanely happy with that. Right, now into the bunker. Let's show you these two scenarios again. So, more of a normal grip, my swing. Look how this club digs into that sand. You've got to be so precise on where you're hitting the ball. Open it up, look at the difference in the sand now. The noise is different, there's less resistance because our bounce is now gliding through that sand, not digging in. Really, really important. So taking that grip, potentially if you were in the bunker, obviously we can't touch the sand, we can lay it open, then take our hold, understand that our release can work underneath now, and that's really nice, being able to get some speed and some height. Or you'd be happy all day long with that. Let's now move on to the last two scenarios. We just got a really good point here to take from that bunker shot. Your grip is quite neutral relative to you, relative to the club face, it's a little bit weaker. Let's now move on to scenario number 3. Okay, here. We've got a situation here where we probably want to get a bit of air over this. We don't want to run it through this ground here. It's a little bit undulating, it's a little bit rough, but we want to feel like we get a more running shot out. How can our grip help us now? So we've got a weaker grip, we've got a neutral grip. Let's now talk through a stronger grip. So I've got my 54 degree here. I want you to look at this here. So you come to the face on perspective. I'm going to show now 3 knuckles or 3.5 knuckles on my left hand. Look how my release changes now. It's almost like I'm hitting more of a forehand release because I got a stronger grip. Look how this club can roll through impact. It's not held square as we hit that first one. We're looking for a shot that now has more of this sort of top spin shot and more rolling. So for example, if I was hitting and chipping up a bit of a slope, and I really didn't want this ball to check too much, I would give it this sort of hooky release to allow this ball to really roll out. Into a wind, this can be really valuable. So again, it's an identifying the scenario, choosing your grip to help execute the shot. So I'm going to play 2 away here and just look at the difference. I've gone one here, we've gone one here. Now we're on the right hand side of the club as a right-handed player. Really feeling as I've got more of this hook release to have a lower, more running ball flight. Now, you might be thinking, well, Alex, just take a little bit less loft. Well, yeah, that could be right, but I want to lift it about halfway there, or not even halfway there, about a quarter of the way there over this little bit of a mound and allow it to run out. I love this shot. It takes the wind out of account and I feel I can put some speed into it, which in my eyes helps guarantee a strike. So stand a little bit hooky to it, stronger grip, a little bit of a hooky, more rolling release, and look how that will roll a lot more down to the flag. So again, if you watch this next one here from this perspective, it's not this release as we had in our first chip, a little bit of a stronger grip, more of a roll release. I'm using my grip, using my feel to take some spin off and allow it to be a bit more of a rolling shot, even with a club with loft. Because loft means in my eyes we can add speed, which speed is always a good thing when chipping around the greens, and would be absolutely over the moon with these two. Let's now talk about the final scenario, get it in the palm. You heard me right, I'm not joking, get it in the palm. Final scenario now, getting this club into the palm. Now you spin round here and have a look at the situation we've got here. We've got a little bit of fringe, we've got a little bit of a slope, and want this ball to roll out. This in my eyes is a difficult chip. It's downhill, it's downwind a little bit now. I want this ball rolling like a putt as soon as I can because I'm only a yard or 2 away from the green. 2 options. I've gone with my 8-iron and my hybrid, but the grip would stay the same. I want you to experiment with this. Now remember, as you're watching this video and you're thinking, right, this is really valuable to my game, don't forget you can download the PDF guide, click the link down below, you join the Facebook group, they're put on there every single day for you to watch and read. And also if you're saving this video and you think, I want to take that to the course this weekend, perfect. Make sure you do that. Okay, so this is now in the palm. Now, the reason why I want this in the palm is because I want it to feel more like a bit of a putting stroke as opposed to a swing where we got loads of speed. If we added loads of speed with these two clubs that have significantly less loft than a 58, a 54, a pitching wedge, we could get into that sort of situation where we either underhit it because we're scared of hitting it too far, or we overhit it and we end up having the same shot again, especially on those longer ones and difficult ones like this. So I now place that golf club very much in the palm. So you can see here, this will be in the fingers. Now look at the gap that we create in here. Now into the palm. So I'll then adjust my setup for this. I'd get a little bit closer to the ball and I'd feel like my toe was down into the ground. My weight stays a little bit left and I really feel it makes me a little bit more rigid and there's less speed and less flashy movement going on. Both factors help me control the club head speed and the strike in this scenario. So this is the 8-iron first. We'll hit both here, in the palm. Let it roll down. Oh, the slope's just done me there. Difficult shot. I actually think this hybrid is more of the club. I think this is such a versatile club we don't actually use enough of. Bob, who I teach, who plays at a local club here, he uses this shot around the green. He struggles with his chipping sometimes. So, guarantee a strike, get it going forwards, and it can be a really valuable club. Again, into the palm, treat it a bit more of a putting stroke, but your weight's on your left hand side. Makes it really easy to get this one rolling down to the flag. Absolute scenes! I wish that looks like it's so fake that now, doesn't it?
No cut.
Oh my god. Anyway, I'm very happy with that. So yeah, make sure you use this club all the time. So think about what we've spoken about today. Let's just summarise this, and we'll use the hybrid actually. The more normal release with 2 knuckles or 2.5 knuckles. We then get that club down, the hands on the left hand side of the club to make it more of this under release. We then are talking about on the right hand side of the club, more that hooky, drawy release to get the ball rolling with a lofted club. And then finally, using like a hybrid or 8-iron or 7-iron for a more running shot like this, be able to control that club head speed at a slower speed as well as maintaining strike. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you know exactly what to do. Smash that big red subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching.